challenges into opportunities. The word God represents millions and millions of laws, millions and millions of attributes, characteristics, and none of us really know what they all are. But we know that the universe operates under a word called law, L-A-W. Everything that happens begins with a cause. Every experience has a cause. There is the vacuum law that says wherever there's an empty space, there will always be a need to have it filled. There's the law of compensation that says you get what you deserve. The law of attraction says you bring onto you what you are. The law of mind is belief. Whatever you hold to be true, you will experience. You alone. We live in this sphere we call on the earth, and everything on the earth is governed by law. We are governed by law. We may not know the laws, but we are applying them every day. And the results are either success or failure. Every time we fail, it means that we have missed the mark. We have not applied the law properly. Every time we succeed, whether it's hit and miss, it means a law has been applied. We may think of ourselves as just human beings, but we are spiritual. And as spiritual beings, all the laws governing energy applies to us. Energy operating at a particular zone or sphere will meet that same energy wherever it is. So sometimes in our lives, the universe presents us with what we call failure to help us to seek to move to another sphere. Our bodies may experience what we call ill health or sickness. It meant in this time of experience that a law has been broken. And since the laws that we work in our bodies are first worked in our minds, the place to recover is always on the mental state. Doctors will tell you that they cannot heal you. They can perform procedures to assist you, but all healing comes from within. As a man thinks, his experiences will be. Wherever you are being presented with opportunities to make corrections in your life. Wherever there is lack, a correction needs to be made. Wherever there is sickness, a correction needs to be made. Wherever there is inharmony, a correction needs to be made. We can read as much as we want. We could acquire as much information as we can. But if we don't believe that all things are possible, that change is possible, that we can transcend and move from where we are to another place, then nothing will happen. There were 4 men who were lepers, who sat outside of the gates of Jerusalem. In those days, lepers were declared to be unclean, and they could not enter in the city or mix with other people. So they gathered outside of the walls of Jerusalem, and people will put food at a certain spot for them, and they will come retrieve that food and go on their way. It so happened around this time, Jerusalem was besieged. The Assyrian armies were gathered around, entrenched, waiting for the people of Jerusalem to surrender. As this went on, the food supply in the city was diminished. And as a result, the food that would go to the lepers were consumed by the people who were beginning to experience hunger. And they said to one another, "Why sit we here and die? If we go into the city, all they could do is kill us. But there's no food in the city. Why go to the city? If we go to the Assyrian camp, there's food. They could kill us, or we could get food." And they decided to go to the camps of the Assyrian. And as they went and was traveling there, in the nighttime, the Assyrians thought that they heard the hoofs of many horses, and they fled, leaving all the food in the camp for the lepers. But they weren't selfish. They went to the city and invited the people from the city of Jerusalem to come and share. Wherever you are, the question is, should I sit here and die? Every moment, that question needs to be asked. Why sit I here and waste my time, waste my energy, and remain in the same condition that I have been in for 12 years? Some of us have been schooled to wait for God to come. Some of us have been told that Jesus is coming back. And we are waiting and praying. And we sing songs like "In the Sweet By and By." But until we seize the moment and make a decision to move, stop complaining, stop sitting down and waiting, and take action, the opportunities will remain trials and tribulations. Do you have any trials and tribulations? through the laws of mind action, they appear to you for one reason: for you to say, why sit I here and waste my time? Every time you sit in a situation that is not fruitful, you waste your divine energy. I don't know. Complacency eats us up. And that wasted energy of complaining and criticizing does nothing but to make the yoke heavier. Do you realize that when you believe that something is wrong and you convince yourself that something is wrong, you also convince yourself that it is impossible for you to get out? When you believe that it is impossible, it could never be possible. When you believe there is no end in sight, you will get more darkness. Because mind is creative. The more you have is the more you shall get. The more sickness you have is the more sickness you will experience. If you believe you're sick, you'll get as much as that as you could imagine. Because it's all about what you imagine it to be. If you believe that things are bad, things could never get good. If you believe in limitation, you could never have. It will pass through your hand and you will find a way to get rid of it as quickly because it will burn you in your hand. Whatever you believe, you create through the law of mind action. To him who hath not, even that which he has shall be taken away. Every moment we live in the land of opportunity, and we are to seize the moment and take advantage of the possibility that yes, things can work out. Challenges are subjective. It's what I describe the incident to be. That's what a challenge is. It is seeming. It is an appearance that you make up in your mind. It is not real. Because if you are telling me that wherever you are, God is, and God is all there is, how can there be lack if God is abundance? If the cattle on 1,000 hills belong to God, and if they are God's, they are mine, how could I say I'm in lack? As soon as you transform your mind, the well opens. Because the lid on the well you put there because you don't want to go into the well to get the water. Somebody else comes, opens the lid, and gets what you are waiting there for a long time. There was a man who waited by the pool. For how long, Bianca? 38 years. She was there with him. All of us have been there. We've been there in our relationships. We've been there by the bank lines. We've been there by the hospital emergency wards, waiting for the doctors or the bank clerk to help us. It says that Jesus appeared and said to the man, "Do you really want to get out of this jam?" And he said yes. And immediately it happened. There was a woman who was hemorrhaging for 12 years. Blood represents the life. To hemorrhage means the what? Filtering out of your system of all the energy that you have. It happens when we waste our time on petty stuff. Giving your energy to things that have no power. We waste our energy. And one morning she got up and she said, "Enough is enough. Until you say, 'Why sit I here and die?' you will keep dying." You have to first to see yourself whole and healthy. You have to see yourself prosperous. You've got to see yourself happy if these things will come onto you. If you don't see it, you can't have it. That's why Jesus says to the people, "Do you believe?" Because according to your belief, that's what you will experience. It said the woman, when she got near to Jesus, there was a crowd. And she bent down. To bend down means is to lose your pride and become humble. You see, some of us need healing, but we're so proud to do the right thing. We put it off. And some of us are like Nicodemus. We come in the dead of night where nobody else can see. It says she lost her pride and became humble, stooped down, went down into the dust because there was no asphalted roads. Let her hands get dirty. Some of us are afraid to get our hands dirty to get a healing because of pride. What would people think if they see me bending down for a penny? And it's a penny I need to make $1. And they wouldn't sell it to me unless I have $1. But I see the penny. Put it under my feet and wait till 2 in the morning. When everybody gone home to pick it up. Pride kills. It says as Jesus passed, she touched the hem of his garment, and immediately everything was stopped. And then Jesus said, "Somebody touched me." And the disciple says, "Yeah, now, why are you complaining? They have so many people around you, they're squeezing you, they're." He said, "No, this was a different touch." He said, "I could feel life flowing out of me." Something happened. You see, every time you touch the earth touches back. When you touch that spiritual core of your being, it must touch back. When you ask believing, the healing must take place. This is my moment. This is my opportunity for whatever I have need of to take place. I've been practicing financial independence, reclaiming my God-given right to attract stuff to me. Since we came into this place, I got so busy trying to run the place and take care of the place, I forgot to practice the principles. I became a manager, organizing and shifting things around. And I sent word out to the universe. And the universe responded. I had 2 assignments, and large money came in. And then someone responded with 2 large amounts. So I'm like the preacher today. There was a preacher. One Sunday, he told the congregation, we need a new parking lot. Close your eyes. And they prayed. And then he passed the baskets. And all the money for the parking lot came in. He said, praise God. The next Sunday, got personal now. I needed a jet. And they prayed. And the money flowed in for the jet. The third Sunday, he thought he would do something even bigger. He asked them that Sunday, we want to tear this church down and build another one. He asked them to close their eyes and let us pray. And while they were praying, the wind blew. And a window closed with a bang, large noise. And under his breath he said, crap, what is that? And when he went out into the parking lot, there were trucks full of crap. Whatever you ask for, you get. Sometimes, when we don't know our ability to attract, we ask for things, and when we get them, we complain. Just sharing with you. Whatever you ask for in prayer, you will receive. Why not ask for it all? Ask for abundance in all good things. Ask for abundance in all. Don't ask for a little bit of this and a little bit of that. No. The entire kingdom is yours. Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Don't ask as if you're poor. Before you go to God, clear your mind of everything that is unlike the nature of God. So when you go like a son. Father, I have come for the Lamborghini. Give it to me. I'm coming for no Kia, God. Lamborghini. Because I have the power through Christ in me to draw unto me what is in my consciousness. If it is in your consciousness, that means you have a right to have it. Whatever you ask for, you get. Stop cheating yourself by asking for a little bit. All of it belongs to your Father. And if you pray, my Father in heaven, how could you then go like a servant and beg on your knees? No, open up your eyes, talk to your Father face to face and say, here I am. Suck it to me. Give me all, like the prodigal son, that you have for me. Whatever I do with it, Father, I have free will. So I know my Father will never question what I did with it, because I do with it according to my understanding. Don't feel guilty. Guilt is self-placed anger. Don't ever be angry with yourself. Know that what you do in this moment is the best thing that you could have possibly done based on your understanding, based on your consciousness. You can't do it any better. But out of this experience, when you experience failure, you realize that failure is not a bad thing. Because out of failure for 1,000 and more times, we have the light bulb. Hello now. Failure inspires us to find out which law we should be following. To discover the law that operates. You see, a lot of us just work haphazardly. We work hit and miss. We try it. If it doesn't work, we say, okay. And we give up. We might try it and it works. We don't know the law. And when another big test comes, we can't do it anymore because we did not study to show ourselves approved. It's like math. Math is about practice. There's a principle. You practice the principle. You go into the exam room. You apply the principle. And you pass. But most of us just want the information. We read the book. And then we quote from the book. Where did you get that? Alison Griffith has that in a book. If you don't test it, you can't prove it. Prove me this day. Every moment is a time to prove that you believe that your source and supply is with you always. Don't listen to what they say. Listen to what you know from deep down inside of you, that there is a reservoir in you, and all that you have need of pours out of you. And listen to that voice and be like a Samuel that says, yes, Lord, thy servant heareth. You see, some of us believe we have more power than God. God is trying to carry us in this direction. We say to God, God, I'm not going there. You don't know what's good for me. And then we get ourselves in the briar patch, tarred and feathered, and then we go praying to God, God help me. But God says, retrace your steps. Who, me, God? Why will I do that? No. We've got to listen. Listen and hear when that still small voice within us talks to us. And it talks to me when I least expect it. Sometimes, you know, I'm walking down the street and a billboard shows up. My God is a big God. Say, yeah, that was the answer I needed. Hello now. I had a car about 30 years ago. I bought it from another person who believed they had a right to get rid of it because it wasn't working for them. I didn't know that. And I bought it. And it didn't work for me. And I spent a lot of money on it. I'm not talking about you, Lorna. And I spent a lot of money on it. And it will work for about 100 kilometers. Then something will go wrong. I was on my way to Montreal one day and I heard this rattling. I looked all around. Didn't see anything. Came back from Montreal. And when I reached about Trenton, I heard the rattling. And then I'm driving, and I saw a wheel went past me on the 401. And then I heard a dip in the back as the wheel came off. And my back of the car was embedded because I had pulled by that time to the side in the side. I fixed it, and I continued. I was living in Mississauga then, and one day I went to Square One, and I lived at Fieldgate. And I'm driving, and I heard something like a gunshot. And then I saw smoke. And it didn't dawn on me that it was my car smoking. And somebody drove past me and said, "Hey." And I pulled on the side, took off the license plates, and I left it there. The interesting thing is, as my son and I were taking the bus home, there was a billboard that says, "You can get a Ford Taurus, no money down." And we drove there, took another bus at Dixie, and went and bought a car. When you stop complaining and realize God has been speaking to me from the time I bought that car, it's 3 times he called Samuel. Until Samuel went to Eli, Eli representing the God presence within, and God said, "I send you a boat, I send you a plane, but you still want to be in the same place. So I have to show you and prove to you and put you in a challenging situation for you to come to your senses." Sometimes when the body aches and the body reacts, it's time you start to listen to that still small voice that has been telling you to eat right, drink right, breathe right. Put good stuff in your body. Hello now. Ain't no rainy day. Spirit is telling you every day to put a little bit away. Don't make excuses for spirit. Spirit could act so vicious at times. It will bring you to death's door to wake you up. Isn't it nice? What a friend we have in Jesus. Because it's only your friends who will treat you that way. They bring you to the place for you to realize of yourself you can do nothing. You have something in you that wants to direct you in the paths of righteousness. Just start doing it. Start doing it. If life is built on a platform of fear and impossibility, that's what will dominate. If you are afraid to move from where you are and you make excuses, you will come up with more impossibility. Every moment offers and provides a new way of seeing the same old thing. Have you been having an old experience, and then you pull away from it and look back at it and realize, oh my God, I could have fixed this 40 years ago. The distance from Egypt to the promised land could have been done in about 4 days. It took them 40 years because they were stubborn and wayward. Hello now. It has taken us, some of us, 40 years to make the correction that we need to make to live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life. People that we call enemies are actually our friends and angels reaching into us to help us come and see the truth. Hello now. The people that we hate the most are our best friends to come. And our best friends are sometimes the one keeping us in purgatory by agreeing with us and clapping every time we have a failure. Me too, that happened to me too. And you feel good. You have company. Misery loves, you know. I only know misery. I didn't know the other piece, you know. Transformation comes when you wake up, become conscious, and decide, like the prodigal son, I am going home. Enough is enough. Have you ever reached that stage where you say, enough is enough? Hello now. Change only comes when you say enough is enough. I cannot take this anymore. There's got to be something better. And then you find your feet becoming restless as it points in a direction and it begins to move you forward. Transformation comes when we seize the opportunity that each moment brings us. Hey, over the last 6 months, I've been experiencing a lot of things that nobody knows about, and they shouldn't. But I realized that Spirit was trying to wake me up and replace all the years that the locusts had taken away, all the energy that I had wasted on frivolous things. And as I said to you, it was in that jury room that Spirit began to wake me up. You are not here to do anything on your own. I am with you always. Stop forcing and pushing, and let Spirit guide you through. Life is a journey. It's meant to be forward and progressive. Stop looking back. Do you remember Lot's wife?
Yes.
When they were ready to move out, Spirit said to them, go, but don't look back. Don't let your emotion take you back there. You got to give it all up to move. You can't move and then wish you had brought something from the old place with you. Sell it all, Jesus said. Get rid of it all and make your mind open to this new something that God has for you. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
The movement is not with your feet. It is with your mind. You got to change your mind, as Paul says. Be ye transformed by what? The renewing. That means all the old emotion must go. If you still have the old emotion, the belief has not gone. And if the belief that was there in the beginning is still there, you're going to have the same old thing. As Einstein says, if you keep doing the same thing and you expect a different result, you're nuts. Got to be mad. Every step forward through faith. Jesus said, if you have as much faith, if in the midst of all the dread and the doom, you could see a preferred future and hope after it, you can have it. If you see it and you don't hope after it, you could never get it. What is your dream? What is the one thing you would like to see happening in your life? Focus on that and that alone, and everything else discard. Don't multitask with your life. Decide if it is health you want, focus on health. Keep your mind stayed on health, and you will find Spirit will begin to send its angels or positive vibrations to you so that you can carve out the route to your own salvation. The Savior is not coming. The Savior is already here with you. Open your minds and experience the Savior.